Welcome back to the Functional Wellness Podcast. I'm Dr. Allison, and for the next few podcasts, I'm going to be sharing some of the tools that I use to help my body feel better, heal, and just adding in those little 10% solutions that bring us back to health. So, I wanted to start off with the Chi machine. And this is a passive exerciser that was invented in Japan in the 1980s. And the term Chi machine, so it's spelled CHI, is a registered trademark. So you might also recognize the term swing machine. You find them on Amazon. You can buy them online as well. Basically, this is this is hard to explain over a podcast, but it's a box that has a little comfortable wedge for you to place your ankles on, and you lay on your back. So when you plug it in, the wedge will, and turn it on, of course, shifts slightly side to side. So you lay on your back, your feet are slightly elevated, your feet go back and forth, which brings motion up through your legs into your pelvis and hips. And depending on the speed that you put it on, you can feel it all the way up your back. And then you get to just lay back and relax for about 20 minutes. And like I said, for most machines, you get to control the speed of how fast your feet are moving. So the motion can go from very slight and very gentle all the way up to intense. I wouldn't say it's going to like throw you off like a roller coaster, but you'll definitely be feeling it in your back. So there's quite a few companies that make these, and you can find them online. And the prices range anywhere from $50 to $500, depending on the type that you want and what you're using them for, where you're buying them from. But what I have to say before we dive in any deeper, of course, is my little waiver here that you definitely need to talk with your doctor to make sure this is a safe activity for you. I would not recommend this for anyone with severe back problems, fractures, potentially even ankle, knee, back, or hip sprains, because the movement may worsen a stress fracture, a compound fracture, a sprain. Make sure you're talking to your doctors about all these things that you're adding in if you have those types of issues. It can be helpful, but you also want to make sure that you're not hurting yourself, okay? So we're going to be smart when we add new things in. We're not going to go crazy, okay? So sadly, there isn't much research on this swing machine, chi machine, because, well, science doesn't really study anything that works. And unless there's a ton of money to be made by a product, no one's going to really research this. So there is one or two research articles out there that were done by the company that talks about lymphedema and swelling in post-cancer patients and how that the swing machine was able to help reduce the swelling when used consistently. So that's really cool. So this podcast is my personal review along with experiences of others that I know who have used this machine. So I'm not making any claims or promises. I'm just sharing my personal story. So originally I saw this in my chiropractor's office in 2005, and he was using it with great success for his low back pain patients. And I just kind of kept it in my head. I never had one at my office. And I just remembered it in 2020 during my ulcerative colitis flare because one, I was absolutely desperate and I was going to try anything that might help reduce pain and introduce energy and healing to my gut. So sign me up. The things I spent money on, guys, it was intense. Anyways, number two, my body did not respond very well to the IV steroids. And after all my hospital stays, I was extremely swollen, painfully so. And I couldn't even like move my toes. I couldn't stretch my ankles. And at my fourth week of my third hospital stay, I had lost 40 pounds and I was super tiny, like in 3 weeks. So lots of weight loss. I was very tiny and especially on tops. And a nurse lifted up my blankets and looked at my legs and go, honey, you don't match. Oh my God. Because I was so swollen. It was so funny. I'll never forget that. Like the look in her eyes, she was so shocked because from my knees down, I was 15 times the size that I was on top. So yes, the primary hospitalist had me go get ultrasounds and make sure I wasn't clotting or there wasn't anything else going on. And really, the swelling was from the medications and also from losing my ability to walk, because by that time at that hospital stay, I wasn't able to get around. I wasn't able to walk. I used my IV pole basically as a cane to move around. So of course I had severe swelling and lymphedema, and I had elevated my legs on pillows, and the pillows just kept getting higher and higher. Anyways, so the swing machine, when I used it gently at first, of course, was able to reduce the swelling, the lymphedema, and the pain in my legs. Also, because I had lost so much muscle and wasn't able to walk or go up and down stairs, this literally was a passive exercise that helped me get movement and rebuild my body. And I put it on the bed so I didn't have to get on the ground to use it. And I use it about twice a day. And now I use this daily for quite a few reasons. So, first, I use it for passive exercise. Now, right now, today, May 2023, I'm in quite a flare because my immune suppressants this year are failing. They're not working. So, I can't get to the gym. I can't go outside for walks again. I'm home, I'm tired, I'm really sick. I have all these reasons, right? So I used to be in the gym every single day, and now I'm like, ugh, I can't do anything. So I get to use the swing machine as like my passive exercise, and I'm happy to get movement into my body. And movement is so important for healing, for maintaining cellular health and the mitochondria, and for supporting the brain. The longer that we lay in bed, the longer that we don't move, the more our body deteriorates. So this is a really great option for people who are having these types of issues. And I'll get to that in a second. So we need to move. And this is a great tool to kind of push that along until you're strong enough to do more. Or if this is where you're at, this is where you're at. And great, you have support and an option. So the second reason that I use this, and this is my take, is it's like a whole body shake to reduce sympathetic activation, calm that fight or flight overreaction in my body. You know, when I get stressed out, my gut flares up. And you might find the same thing, especially with autoimmune, digestive disorders. You're like, oh my gosh, my IBS. And then they tell you have anxiety. You're like, no, it's not anxiety. Anxiety makes me worse. The gut stuff is the original reaction. So I do feel that this helps with vagal healing, vagus nerve healing, which means it's going to be supporting my digestive system. It helps with my POTS and my MCAS systems. It's calming both emotionally and physically. So when we say to move, shake, dance, or do somatic exercises, and you're like, I don't know what that means, the swing machine is something that can be useful, especially for people who maybe have chronic pain, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, limited movement, and need a way to get stimulation into their nervous system to calm everything down and help with that. Okay, so third reason I use this, and again, this is not necessarily a proven point, but this is my experience, is that I do notice an increase in blood and lymph and oxygenation flow. So here I am laying on the floor, my legs are being moved back and forth, and at higher speeds, that movement or that sway and swing goes all the way up my spine to my head. And we know that exercise and walking specifically, of course, helps with lymphatic flow, drainage, immune support for the digestive system. It helps with the spinal discs and cerebrospinal fluid and movement and pushing the old out of our cells so we can bring the new in as help our body flow. So I do see a small reduction in my digestive symptoms, and of course it's not a cure. I'll let you know as soon as I find one, I promise, or you let me know, right? But the continuous passive motion helps move the blood, the lymph, in my intestines, and then of course through my spine and the rest of my body, especially my legs when they're in pain. And I combine this with meditation and breath work, and I do feel so much better. And I can feel that. And, it's not fun to talk about when you're like, how do I know I'm detoxing? What does my stool look like? How much am I urinating? And what does my breath smell like? All of those things give us clues to how our body is healing. And this is why I know that this is working. And then fourth, the super unsupported, super unscientific aspect of this is the energy movement through the main energy centers of the body, the spine, the meridians, the chakras. And I'm pulling this from the Chi Machine website. They said, this is the original makers, for the Japanese who came up with the original concept, the main purpose of creating this sideways oscillation or pulsing is to stimulate the area between the pelvis and the navel, which is known to the Japanese as the hara or the dantian to the Chinese. This refers specifically to the area centered in the lower abdomen below the navel. And the reason that this is so important is because it is a major energy center of our body where we store energy to diffuse throughout our body that can be too hot or too cold, that we need to have balance within. And I never want to say we need to increase or decrease something, because unless you know what needs to be increased or decreased, that's not a good word. But bringing balance to our energetic systems is really important. And this is why I feel that the swing machine is so great for digestive health, because that area is so sensitive to digestive distress that bringing metaphysical energy to that area is really helpful. So I actually lay on my acupuncture mat while doing my swing machine, mainly because it saves time. Like if I do all my body work at once and then like, boom, we're done. But my body is extremely and positively responsive to acupuncture and Reiki. So this is like a little added bonus of support that I can do at home for a low cost. And obviously it's been with me for 3 years. I've been able to continue to use it. So this is just a really interesting small thing to add in for like I said, a low cost that's going to work on multiple systems and symptoms. And if you want to learn more about the swing machines, you can visit the Chi, and remember that CHI exercisemachine.com. And if you're looking for personalized care with functional medicine, please schedule an appointment online with me. I'd be happy to help you navigate the tools that you need to feel your best. So I'm grateful that you're here. So make sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date with all of our weekly podcasts, and we'll see you next time. Thank you for listening to Functional Wellness with Dr. Alison. If you would like personalized care and testing, you can schedule an initial consult online and get started with your wellness plan right away, or message us on Facebook at Little Black Bag Medicine. Thanks for tuning in, and see you next week.